Previously on Dandies in Danger.
A little check-in book. There was a first page of this notebook that has been torn out.
Someone didn't want us to know something.
In the library, the book is a record of genealogy. It is a list of the people who have been the lords and ladies of Holloway Manor. The family line ends with two names, a brother and sister, Nathaniel King and Tabitha. The taxidermy dog gives you an uneasy feeling. It has two little gems for eyes and also a black collar. You're looking at the wall of gentlemen, and none of the gentlemen are particularly old for these portraits. And as you kind of walk down the timeline, it seems like they get a little bit younger and younger. But there's something about them that's a little bit reminiscent of the host, whom you have only just met this evening.
Hi, my name is Elijah, my pronouns are he, him, and I play the voice of Zachary Wilkos.
Hi, I'm Cass. My pronouns are she, her, and I voice Liam Bardsley.
Hi, I'm Chess, he, she, they, and I voice Daniel Pritchard.
Hi, my name is Toast. Pronouns are she, they, and I play Adrian Edwards.
Welcome to the 50th episode of Dandies in Danger. All right. Daniel and Zach.
Not a lot of fanfare for that, but there'll probably be more when we hit our 100th.
Make a little like musical sting for that. I can't wait to hear what that sounds like.
It's just a trumpet going.
We'll just use that. Just cut that exact sound. So, Daniel and Zach, we left you mid-action, but you are both interrupted before you can interact with either the servant in the doorway or the taxidermy dog. The cavernous hall resonates with the toll of the clock that Daniel had previously taken an interest in. The acoustics of the room make it so that Zach and Adrian can hear it all the way in the library. The chime of the clock is accompanied by a delicate song, similar in timbre to a music box. The notes are sweet and slow, falling perfectly in rhythm with the 7 tolls that mark the hour. The melody is familiar, but not intimately, mostly just like an excerpt from a longer piece you once heard at a concert or heard played by an amateur as party entertainment. Zach and Adrian pick odds or evens.
Even.
The odds.
Okay.
The odds are ever in my favor, so.
Are they?
No. But he's an oddball, so I'm gonna go with odds because that just seems to be his element.
And Adrian can't even.
Elijah. Oh, yeah, sorry. I was thinking about the Thornberries.
Okay.
There's a whole episode about being an oddball and Eliza accepting that she's an oddball.
Oh, I thought you were
nice.
saying Elijah.
Eliza.
Okay.
Eliza.
We're gonna roll for Adrian first. You picked evens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we get to know what's happening?
No.
You picked odds.
I did, yeah.
Okay, so
It's a mystery.
Adrian is unfazed by this noise, but as Zach is approaching the white taxidermy dog, he startles at the sound of the chime.
Does he get a fright?
No fright. You just, you startle, your hand twitches, but after a beat, you compose yourself, you figure out it's just a clock chiming, so how would you like to examine this dog?
Intimately.
Stop. Yeah, I think he's going to have a look at the collar first.
Are you just looking at it?
No, he's gonna reach out and touch it to see what it's made of.
Can Adrian come?
Yeah, Adrian
Okay.
wants to come over. You see that Zach is
interested in the
interested.
dog, yeah.
Okay, so the two of you walk over towards the dog, and Zach, as you are stretching out your hand, you hear a
He stops.
It's the Colonel, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't touch that if I were you, young man. I've, that one, the highly flappable fellow was in here earlier, and he, was very keen that no one disturb the hounds. They belong to the lord of the house, after all.
Oh, of course.
Oh, he's talking about Nathaniel, the flappable fellow.
Yeah. Can Adrian kneel down and look the doggy in the eye?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
That's
what
what
kind
he
of dog
wants
is
to
it?
do.
Is it? I'm picturing like one of those like pencil dogs with the long nose.
Borzoi?
Yeah.
Me too.
Borzoi.
That was also what I was picturing.
Oh, I was thinking
A
of something
white-
stockier.
A white
I don't know
borzoi.
why.
Me too.
Elijah gets the gold for this one. It's more of a hunting hound, so imagine, if you will, something more in the shape of a foxhound, except without the traditional kind of black and tan colors. It's white all over, so that means it's got more of a blocky snout, it has drooping ears rather than perked up, and it has a short coat of fur.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Really
So
was-
like
Okay, cool.
That's very interesting. Ah, sorry. It's entirely white, like the missing people who came back were entirely white.
How astute!
Oh,
How
yes.
exciting!
Oh,
Color themes!
I forgot
Yes.
about that. All right. Okay, so Zachary does not touch the dog. He instead looks back at the person who was talking to him. Oh, but you're looking into the dog's eyes, so
yeah, Adrian wants
let's
to
go back to that.
kneel down and just look at it because he likes animals.
I'm not the demon.
They are, like I said last time, they are garnets, but they are sort of carved into the shape of eyes. They're not still, like, faceted.
Okay.
They've been smoothed over, and it was actually quite a nice pick of gem because it's a little bit darker at the center, and so it almost gives the impression of a pupil inside the dog's eyes. It's, a fairly well-done taxidermy, but as with all things, it's a little unsettling because it's not alive anymore, and the expression isn't quite like a living creature.
And it's got fucking gems in its eyes. Yeah.
I mean, Adrian loves that shit, so
Mm-hmm.
he thinks it's great.
Who you assume is the colonel just sort of nods his head and goes back to his book.
Zachary thinks about talking to him, but doesn't really have anything to, like, inquire. Also, he's shy. He really doesn't go out of his way to talk to people.
He already had that, like, really intense, quote-unquote, intense for the social times conversation with that other man, so...
Yeah, and he's kind of, like, A, a little burnt out from that, and B, not super confident that he could carry out anything, like, prying-wise. And he doesn't know if this colonel guy knows anything, except that Nathaniel came in sooner and said some stuff.
Yeah. Wait, so Old Man said that presumably Nathaniel said that dogs belong to the lord of the house and we shouldn't touch them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nathaniel's not the lord of the house.
Well, it doesn't seem so, no. That's part of the big mystery.
Would you like to follow up on that, Adrian?
What, talk to the old man?
Yeah, I don't think it's likely, but I just wanted to ask.
No.
Okay, that's fine.
Zachary does kind of make a mental note of the black... Can he see what the black collar is made out of? Is it just like...
It's
like a
made out
velvet?
of... It's made out of a sort of dark satiny material that's sewn onto something a little sturdier.
Does it have a tag?
There is no tag.
Okay.
Is
Is there a name engraved on it at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Adrian's gonna try to sneaky touch it anyway. He's gonna try to, like, touch the collar with his finger.
Ooh, I can't remember if Zachary rolled perception for this dog yet.
He got, like, not a great vibe from the dog, and I think he did tell Adrian to, like, be careful of the dog, but Adrian wants to touch it.
I think if he sees Adrian, like, kind of reaching out, he'll push his hand towards him a little. Maybe he won't quite touch Adrian
Yeah.
yet, but he'll be like, he'll give him warning eyes, like, careful, like, do you know what you're doing?
Okay,
He
well,
does not. He'll pout and not touch the dog.
not gonna touch the dog.
No,
Okay.
he's trying to behave, you know? He's trying to be a good boy now.
You are...
Was he a bad boy before?
He was a petulant little boy.
Okay.
So, as far as the dog goes, are you going to give up your investigation? Or are you going to roll another perception on this?
Can
Because
I
you
roll?
are... Yeah, you could do that since you are closer to it now.
Yeah, I don't think he perceived the dog specifically, so let's find out. 14 plus 4, 18.
Excellent.
Yeah.
The dog has a very strong sheen to its coat. It looks almost oily, in fact. It's sitting here sort of close to the fireplace, and it looks like its coat is almost coated in something. It's quite a heavy sheen to it.
Oh, jeez.
That might in fact be part of the reason why you found it so disturbing earlier, Zachary, because it is a well-oiled pup.
Goo dog. Gross.
Like it's got some shellac on it or something.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna write that down.
Does it have a smell? Does it have a strong smell?
Are you sniffing this dog?
I'm right next to it. I could sniff it.
The
I rolled an 18.
The colonel just looks over like, what? What is he doing?
Adrian's just like, what? I'm not touching it.
Yeah, no. The colonel is definitely like looking over the top of his book at you, just like
Kneeling on the ground.
Sniffing this dog.
You were previously looking the dog right in the eyes, and then you're just leaning closer and sniffing it, and now even Zachary is looking at you like, what is happening here?
Just wondering if this is like a new coat of something it's been doused in. So is there a smell?
Give me another D20 roll.
Can I add
D20
anything?
to sniff.
No, don't add anything.
Come on.
Add your nose points.
15.
15. Okay, so it doesn't have any strong sort of mineral smell. There's no, like, it's probably not actually shellac.
Okay.
It has sort of a neutral, earthy smell.
Okay.
Plus it smells kind of like warm fur because it's right next to the fireplace.
Okay. I was curious because in the previous episode, you said we could still kind of smell the paint, or Liam and Daniel would have been able to smell the paint in the hall.
Oh, that's right. Refurbishing.
Yeah. So I was curious.
That's a really good question. I like your vibes there. I like your initiative to use all of your senses because that could be quite handy.
Oh, ho, ho.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, teacher.
Feral Adrian wins.
Writes down, smell more things.
I am also going to be noting, though, that the colonel saw you sniffing the dog.
Sure. He'll stand up now. You're like, huh.
Did you get anything?
I don't think so. I think it's just a taxidermied dog. It just smells like taxidermy.
Maybe it's just unsettling.
I might get something like this for my home.
Zachary opens his mouth, but he's not really surprised, so he just closes it and instead looks around and goes, do you think we need anything else from here?
Well, I was a bit curious about that woman's portrait. Is it by the fire? Is it over the fire? Or I don't know if it's important, but I just wanted to look at it.
I don't see any harm in doing that.
Oh boy.
He's just happy Adrian's taking an interest.
The painting is over the fireplace.
Okay. Then, another perception?
Yeah, give me another perception.
Alright.
Can I also perception?
Yeah, please,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, why am I rolling so bad in this
What'd you get?
house? I didn't fail one.
Oy.
I don't even know if there's a painting in here. I'm like, what painting?
You're too scared by the clock chiming.
I got 14 in total.
14 in total, so that's a
Yeah.
mixed success, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how I described this previously, so I will describe it again and maybe give you a little bit more. The painting is of a woman with light brown hair. She's wearing a beautiful green, like a vibrant emerald green dress, and she's wearing a green bonnet as well, and she's facing the viewer, and she has a very demure smile on her face. She is holding in her hands a basket of both flowers and vegetables. There's a little trowel sitting at the top of the basket as well. She's standing in front of a very pastoral scene.
Is there any sort of little plaque or thing written
No
on the
plaques.
frame? Okay.
Good question. No plaques.
Do they, at this time in history, know about the effects of green? Okay.
The poison.
Yeah.
That's
He
what I was
says
thinking.
very, very vibrant green.
Yeah. Okay. And Zachary rolled a 1 anyway, so he's just like, wow, nice dress.
Pretty color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So pastoral, holding vegetables, green dress, green bonnet.
Yeah. Adrian would perhaps posit, well, I suppose she could have been a lady of the house. She shrugs.
Zachary just shakes his head like he's not quite sure how any of these pieces fit together yet, but just amassing them. And he nods and he just goes, it's possible. I definitely keep it in mind. Anywhere else? You said there was a mirror above one of the doors?
Yes,
The door
over
to
the
the
door
parlor?
into the parlor, yeah.
Was that normal for back then? Is that just like a thing they did?
It's just it's a piece of decoration.
Yeah, it's just some interior decorating. Who knows? Maybe it's spooky.
I looked at
Didn't you say there were mirrors
over
in
doorways.
the big hallway too?
Yeah, the ceiling.
Yes.
The
ceiling was mirrored.
Orgies.
Gives you a lot to reflect on.
Yeah.
I like to see how I'm doing.
I mean, it could be orgies. I think I described it as a way to enlarge the space.
Oh yeah,
In the previous one, but I think orgies is definitely more believable.
In beginning.
And beginning, yeah, in beginning a lot of things.
In beginning the space. Shall we take a look at the parlor?
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
As they're walking away, if Zach is like taking the lead, depending where, like, are they going to walk past the dog again?
Briefly, yes.
Then when Zach's not looking, Adrian's gonna boink. You're just gonna poke it.
Where are you poking it?
Ear.
Your finger's a little oily whenever you pull it away.
Interesting.
What a strange development.
Who could have expected this?
I think the Colonel was watching you over the top of his book the entire time, and whenever he sees you do that, wait, let me actually roll to see if he's if he witnesses this. Hang on.
Oh, he gets his own witness tokens.
No, he didn't. He did not. I think Zachary was in front, obstructing line of sight, which is why Adrian was able to get away with it scot-free.
Okay.
Did not see shit. Okay, cool. So you all are able to walk through the door. Obviously, it's unlocked because Mr. Keene just walked through there a few minutes prior. And we will go back to you after we have addressed Daniel and Liam.
Nice.
So now we join Daniel and Liam right at the moment we're traveling back in time, right to when the clock had chimed.
Okay.
Pick evens or odds.
Evens, please.
Oh, okay.
Oh, why? What happened? Why? What happened?
Wait, shit, I have to roll again because I didn't actually pick anything. I'm gonna pick odds.
You're picking something. What if we both pick even?
Wonderful. What is it? Neither Daniel nor Liam is startled by the chiming of the clock, even though we are right next to it.
Oh, great. So just me. Good.
Just Zach. I mean, I feel like that fits character-wise.
Yeah.
Kind of a tightly strung.
Yeah.
He knows something weird's going
He's
on.
sensitive,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very sensitive.
He's
Go on.
already up on like a 9 or a 10, just waiting for something to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But perhaps Liam and Daniel can hear the slight winding noise that precedes the chiming of the clock. And so you're no more startled than you already were upon opening the door and finding a serving person. It's a maybe 30-year-old man with curly hair and a very high forehead. So it's not Michael Sheen. I'm sorry.
God damn it.
You got so excited.
I did.
Sorry, it's not Michael Sheen. No, I'm rethinking. Maybe I should make it Michael Sheen.
Why
Okay.
not? Wait. Never mind.
It's all sarcastic.
Yeah.
So, was holding a tray of drinks. He startled back a little bit upon seeing you in the doorway, but then he sort of corrects himself and he bows his head a little bit. But then he lunges forward a little bit because somebody bumped into him from behind. And you hear, I'm so sorry. Pardon me. Oh, forgive me.
Who's saying that? The person behind him?
The person behind him.
Is it Nathaniel?
It sounds like it.
What is he
Nathaniel.
doing? Isn't he like a lord or something?
No, clearly not.
Man, I'll tell you what he's doing. His best.
Oh,
You leave him alone.
Like, there's no more lords technically in the family tree.
Okay.
I mean, we don't know that. I mean,
Well, according to the book,
Danielle and Liam don't know that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
You're correct.
Yeah.
But he is the host, right?
No,
He's not.
he's an employee there. That's why he was out in the rain.
I did want to check real quick. Does Daniel recognize the tune that the clock is playing, or does that not matter at all?
It's as I said before, it's very familiar, so you're pretty sure you've heard it somewhere before, but it's the kind of thing where you hear a piece of classical music and you're like, I don't know, is this maybe like Opus 35? Opus 26? Just that kind of idea where you're like, I definitely know I've heard this one before.
By the composer Magnus Opus?
The composer Magnus Opus. So yeah, it's definitely that sort of thing where it's like, yeah, you've heard it before, you've heard it around.
All right, so this just happened.
Yeah, and I actually need you to make a roll. I'm gonna say, just for funsies, add your defense.
What?
Just add your defense. It's okay.
Oh, no.
Everything's fine.
You're gonna get tea
Everything's
spilled on you.
I know.
I bet.
yeah. Because Liam is also right behind you, so you can't back up very far unless you want to back up into Liam.
Oh, that's true.
Trot on his toes.
Nathaniel.
I'll do anything to not get tea spilled on me. Is this a D20?
Yep, D20, and it's going to be just a straight
+7.
success. Yeah, plus your... So...
That's a 9, and then my defense is +7, so that's a 16.
Great. Yeah,
That's
you're
not too
fine.
bad.
It's a full success, which means that you do, Daniel, a handy little sidestep and you shoot your right hand out and you manage to help keep the tray from tilting over.
Whoa.
It's those dueling reflexes.
There you go. Liam actually sees this. He's quite impressed. He says, Daniel, that was incredible reflex. Well done.
Wouldn't this be amazing if you were attracted to me?
Hello?
He doesn't say that.
Oh, he doesn't say that.
He does
Okay.
not say that.
Well, that's fine because I have no idea how Liam would react to that.
That's anachronistic to the time. He just kind of like catches it and he says, "Oh, no harm done."
The servant says, "Thank you, sir," and
Apologies, sir.
none needed. And he carries on his way. He's in business mode, not really perturbed about anything. As he moves away, you see that Nathaniel, it was in fact Nathaniel, who was behind him and bumped into him whenever he stopped suddenly. Nathaniel has a little piece of paper folded in his mouth like a piece of thick cardstock, and he's dropped 3 other pieces of cardstock on the ground, and he hastily hunches over to pick them up. I'm terribly sorry about that.
Can I help him pick it up?
Yeah. So you kneel down and he
And our
looks
hands
up at
touch.
you. Yeah.
Our hands
Your
touch.
hands. Yeah.
What is the matter with you?
we
Roll for
lock
hands
eyes.
touch as you pick up the same piece. No, I'm just kidding. Your hands do touch. Your hands do touch. And he looks up at you and how many... I'm going to hold on to that. But you are quite close to Nathaniel now. You are like at about, your faces are about a foot apart as you're kneeling down to help
Does he
pick these
blush
up.
when I touch his hand?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, he absolutely blushes. And go ahead and do roll me a perception because I want to know how much detail I can give you. You will get some.
15.
15. Okay,
Nice.
Mixed success. So, since you are quite close up on his face, you notice something which you hadn't noticed before. He's got a few shaving nicks on his chin. Not too many, but one of them seems like it was maybe pretty bad, so he put like a little tiny bit of plaster on it to keep it. And he's kind of been talking around this little piece of cardstock in his mouth, and he pulls it out and he says, "Actually, you're precisely who I wanted to see. You see, I was making these place settings for dinner tonight, and I have one for a Zachary Wilkos and a Lord Fartington, but I know."
I keep forgetting that's what you wrote his name, so it's like it's fresh new humor every time.
I have never seen Toast explode with laughter like that before, and that was like the best sight. Oh my god. Oh my god, that was so
I have these place cards for a Zachary Wilkos and a Lord Fartington, but there were 4 of you that came in, and I was just hoping that you could perhaps give me the other 2 names so that I could set your places at the table. And also, while I'm at it, I'm afraid I've made a terrible mistake because I may have misplaced your bags, your overnight bags. I was looking for them and I couldn't find them. Did you leave them in? Do you have a carriage outside? Is there? He sort of trails off, sort of sadly, and he's like staring at you, like directly into your beautiful dark brown eyes this entire time, waiting for you to answer.
We really didn't pack any overnight bags, did we?
No, because we like came here immediately, right?
Yeah.
So Daniel blushes, but not because he's staring at him. More of that he's trying to think of, oh shit, what do I do? So he's thinking of an alias. If Adrian gets to be Lord Fartington, he's still kind of mistrustful of like giving his real name, just because he senses and trusts Zachary's opinion that like something's going on. So
As you're thinking about your alias, probably in bullet time, very quickly trying to think of one, Nathaniel is rising to his feet now, and Liam helps you, Daniel, to yours. And Liam just blurts out, "All right, I'm Liam Bardsley."
Sweetie.
Daniel actually covers his eyes with a hand in annoyance. Oh, are you rolling to see if Nathaniel notices that?
He doesn't make anything of it.
Okay. He's frazzled enough as it is. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this person doesn't exist yet, but Daniel says, "I'm Giuseppe Verdi."
Okay.
Joe Green.
yeah, he picks Joe Green in Italian. Verdi is later than our boy's time.
That's legit. Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. How do you spell that? Just so I know.
Mm-hmm. Giusepppe Verdi.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Verdi. And Mr. Bardsley as well. And your bags?
Daniel looks to Liam, and kind of like, Daniel's prepared to talk, but he's kind of looking to Liam to try to figure out what they should say.
You know, we actually had a bit of a mishap with our bags on the way here. You know, in the big storm and everything.
Yes.
They fell off the back, and you know, it's just dreadful business. And I don't think we'll be able to even get them back. But you needn't worry about that, because we're only staying here for one night, and it's kind of you to ask. It's not your fault. You didn't lose them. We just ran into a bit of bad luck. And I'm gonna roll a couple times. Okay.
I feel like Nathaniel knows an awful lot about bad luck.
Yeah.
Okay, so I rolled a success on that roll, adding Liam's influence to it, and on top of that, Nathaniel rolled a 1. So
good old Nathaniel.
Yeah, so Nathaniel is genuinely very distraught on our behalf, and he smacks up his left hand to his forehead, and he says, "You lost all of your bags, all 4 of you? That's dreadful."
Well, we were traveling together, so yes.
Oh my lord. That's horrible news. Well, I tell you what, there are guest robes in the hot springs, whenever that time should come, and perhaps I might be able to even, if I look around the house, perhaps I could find some extra pajamas for you. I have a relative who might be, well, not your size, he says, looking at Liam, but we might be able to find some pajamas for you if you like.
That's wonderful.
All right.
Very kind of you.
I shall have it waiting in your rooms, and we'll see what we can find for you, Mr. Bardsley. I'm sure we'll find something. Don't trouble yourself over much about it. We'll be all right. Thank you.
Liam's gonna have to sleep nude.
How do you know that's not the usual?
Whoa.
He would.
Okay, so Nathaniel says, I do beg your pardon. I have a few things left to take care of before dinner. There's about 30 more minutes. Whenever it is dinner time, it'll be through the parlor and then down through the south door to get to the dining hall. But please, make yourselves at home, explore wherever you like, and I will see you at dinner. And he gives you a bow, and
Daniel also
scurries
bows
off.
at him.
Liam bows back as well. So now you are able to see past where Nathaniel was into that hallway, and you can see the hallway goes to the left and the hallway goes to the right. The hallway ends fairly close past you on the right. You can see it turns and goes directionally. It turns towards the east, so the east side of the house. And then to the left, the hallway extends down further, and you can see a doorway in that direction on the opposite wall. So if you were to
That's the
turn...
only doorway on that wall.
Yeah, that's the only doorway on that wall.
Okay.
If you were to turn towards the left, you would be going in the direction of the doorway, or you could turn towards the right and continue down the hallway in that direction.
Nathaniel didn't, and the servant, didn't seem that upset with us being in that hallway, so it seems like we're allowed to kind of be there. Daniel kind of like turns to Liam and shrugs, and then I guess heads down to the left to check out that doorway.
Wonderful. Before we go through that door, Adrian and Zachary were also about to go through a door, so let's go through Adrian and Zachary's door, and then we'll go through this other one. How do you open the door?
With my hand.
What?
Are you being, like, kind of quiet about it, or are you... I'm just messing with shit. So
Okay.
you go with that?
It's like...
Okay. The parlor is, as it turns out, the seat of the action. Guests stand or sit, quietly conversing all around the room. A silver-haired woman in a mint dress and bonnet and a fur stole sits at a small table, setting up the pieces to a chess game. She smiles warmly around a pipe clenched in her teeth as she looks to her new partner, Mr. Bentley Keene. You can overhear her say, "Finally have someone to play with." And he returns her smile.
Mm-hmm.
The older woman is not the only one smoking. The air is quite ripe with tobacco, as well as wood smoke from a small fireplace. There's another table where a woman who looks to be about in her 30s sits playing solitaire. A cigar hangs drolly from her lips, and her eyes flick up to you as you walk in. She has dark brown hair with a braid coiled into a bun at the back of her head, no bonnet, a blue cravat, a cream-colored men's jacket over a waistcoat and skirt. She tilts her head slightly, and light from the fireplace flashes across her round glasses, so you can no longer tell if she's looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
She's cool.
A priest walks by her on a casual perambulation around the room.
A priest?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Shocking.
Don't go take baths.
A priest walks by her on a casual perambulation around the room. There are 6 arched alcoves shallowly cut into the wall around the room, and he's appreciating the bronze statues housed within each one. Almost each one. One alcove is home only to a blue vase with decorative ferns. The priest gently cups his hands behind his back as he moves from statue to statue. You recognize Sylvester T. Higgins.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Indeed. He has cornered a well-dressed couple over by a mahogany sideboard. You recognize him by voice and presence almost immediately, but the couple are turned away. The man has blonde hair and a blue tailcoat, and the woman has dark hair and a red dress.
Oh, these are the rich people that Daniel and Liam couldn't talk to.
Mm-hmm. They are desperately trying to inch towards the casual seating at the center of the room, but Higgins is talking his usual investment nonsense and punctuates his sentences by slapping the balding head of a very formidable marble bust on the sideboard.
Buddy.
The oval mirror hanging over the table rattles when he does so. The seating area is currently unoccupied. The richly upholstered dark blue couch and armchair match the blue floor-length curtains that frame the 2 windows on the west wall of the room. If not for the storm, you expect this room would otherwise have a lovely view of the sunset most evenings. Along the north wall, a pretty white pianoforte and a blue stool sit waiting sweetly and patiently.
A white pianoforte?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Where would you like to go?
Wait, white.
Yeah. Man, I like these ladies in here, personally.
They seem cool.
This having a fucking shy character who doesn't like talking to people is actually really hard for gameplay.
Do you think he'd be like attracted to like do you think he would talk to any of them?
Well, apparently in society, if you don't already know each other, it's impolite to just go up and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Maybe he could step up.
We should bring that back.
Yeah. I agree.
Zachary does elbow Adrian and gently and nods over to Sylvester T. Higgins and is like, "Look who's here.
Oh, God.
Be on the lookout for any
Let's
haunted
avoid him.
artifacts."
You guys technically know him.
That's
No,
true,
we
but I
were
did
not
want to
introduced.
talk
Would
to
that
him.
count?
No, we're not. We were not introduced, I don't think.
So. Zachary definitely doesn't know him. And
Yeah.
Adrian has a very tenuous connection to him by knowing Liam, and I think walking up and being like, "I know this one guy."
Yeah, no.
And he doesn't want to talk to him.
Zachary also just knows him because he was standing and talking in front of everybody on the ship, but he was never introduced to this man.
How's anyone supposed to talk to anyone?
Introductions. It's how society kept those really tight circles.
Yeah.
Huh.
Probably we could walk up to what are they playing at that table with the old lady and Keen?
Chess, right?
Yes.
Oh, chess.
The older lady and Mr. Keene are playing chess.
Oh, never mind.
There is the woman in her 30s
She's
had a
playing
deck of
solitaire.
cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it
A
is
solitary game.
It is a deck of cards. I suppose if you were into a game, she might be willing to deal you in.
She seems like a solitary figure, just like you.
So I shouldn't talk to her. Leave her alone. This is hard.
I think Zachary's gonna go check out the piano. I think, like, right now, Zachary's goal isn't really to talk to people, which is his normal MO. He's gonna look at, like, things. He's gonna try and perceive where danger is in terms of objects. Like, that's what he's most used to being, like, where the danger is most likely located, if there is danger. So I do want him to go over to the white piano. He does tell Adrian, I'm gonna have a look at that piano, and then he heads over to it.
Do you know how to play?
No, but I feel as though I'm starting to notice a pattern about a few things. So he's gonna wander over and see if he gets the same kind of, like... Is it okay if I roll perception?
Please do.
See if he gets the same kind of unnerved feeling as he does when he's near the dog. That is a 19!
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Plus my wisdom, who cares? It's a pass.
The piano fits in very well with the rest of the decor in this room. It's a white piano, but as you notice, the lid of the piano has had beautiful blue roses painted into the top of it in spiraling vines and a very symmetrical pattern. It matches the blue upholstery on the little stool, and it looks like a very lovely piano. Are you going to tap on a key?
Ooh, no, he's a very hands to himself kind of guy. But he does call over Adrian.
Oh, okay.
What do you think of this piano?
It's very pretty.
It's a marvelous piece of craftsmanship.
Adrian will tap a key himself.
Oh my god.
What?
Nice.
Which key?
I don't know, one in the middle.
You do your little gling, and the couple that was standing over and talking reluctantly to Mr. Higgins both look over their shoulder simultaneously, perhaps desperate for any sort of distraction from Mr. Higgins. And you can kind of overhear him saying, no, I'm sure I met you at such and such party. It was, I think it was a few months back. No. We introduced ourselves then. Yes, it was quite a while ago. No worries there. And so they turn around and you hear the woman speak up. Mr. Edwards.
Wait, he knows her.
Zachary immediately kind of like, his head turns from Adrian to this woman, from Adrian to this woman to Adrian back.
Do I know this woman?
Give me just a straight up D20 roll to see if you remember her.
Oh dear, hang on. I can tell you his like stomach drops because he's like, oh god. 17.
17. As you look up to her, the woman, she has a very pretty face framed with her dark hair. She's got that long red dress and she's got black gloves. It only takes you just a flicker of a second to recall this person because you haven't seen her in a very long time. But this is Miss Virginia Colby. She is a leading lady at the Theatre Royal in Covent Garden. So she was a good friend with someone with whom you were previously acquainted. And so you used to run in a lot of the same circles. But you haven't talked to her or seen her in a very long time, and she has likewise not made the effort to reach out to you. But there is a flash of light in her eyes as she sees you as this sort of buoy in the turbulent sea of Sylvester T. Higgins. And she puts a hand on the arm of the gentleman that she's with and says, "Excuse me." And and turns to Sylvester and gives him a little nod, barely deigning to excuse herself.
She is abandoning her partner.
See ya.
To Sylvester.
See ya.
And she walks over and she says, "It has been a while. Mr. Edwards, I'm sad to say we haven't seen you at the theatre very recently. How are you doing? In good health, I hope?"
Oh god. Oh, I'm scared. Adrian stammers and he says, Miss Colby, it is good to see you. I'm afraid I don't frequent the theatre much these days.
What a pity. We've had some wonderful performances recently.
He does that. That's lovely to hear. I hope that your career, you're doing well.
She lifts a hand to her forehead and says, "Oh, my career is in shambles. No, actually, I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking."
Oh, well. You got me. That was a stellar performance.
You were always quite witty. Who's your friend?
I try. Oh, yes. Adrian perks up in an attempt to divert attention. This is my friend, Mr. Zachary Wilkos, an acquaintance, an accountant, not of mine, but...
She raises her eyebrow whenever you stumble over acquaintance, accountant. She says, oh, he's your acquaintance, accountant.
He's both of those things.
A man of many talents, Mr. Wilkos. It's a pleasure. And she reaches out a hand to you. What do you do with it? Do you shake it? Do you...
She thinks they're fucking.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, he takes it gently and goes, "A pleasure, ma'am." And he gently shakes it and lets her have it back.
Mm-hmm. So how's the poetry going, Mr. Edwards?
Well.
Oh, just well.
Oh, that's the answer.
That's it. It is.
As loquacious as always.
Truly. What brings you here this evening, yourself?
Why, the hot springs, of course. I'm here with Mr. Flynn. Mr. Flynn and I have been acquainted for a little while and thought we would have a bit of a getaway from the city. He's a very busy gentleman and could use a little bit of time to himself.
How nice, says Zachary.
Yes. How did you all hear about it? We had some of the flyers were posted up around the theater, and so I thought I would partake.
Ah, yes, we also heard about it via the flyers. We were handed one, actually, by one of the people that works here.
Oh, how interesting.
Yes.
Very direct line of communication.
Oh, yes, we all thought it would be a lovely chance to get away from the city for a while and really relax in something new and fun.
We all, she says, graciously ignoring the stumble.
We all, yes. Myself, Mr. Edwards, and 2 others we are with.
Oh, how lovely. It's very good to be able to go out with friends.
It is.
Adrian's squinting at her. Yes, I'm sure we will make introductions later.
It's so lovely to see you getting out and about, Adrian.
I would say likewise, but I don't want to.
Huh?
Was that what he said out loud?
Are you snubbing her?
Yeah.
Zachary's eyebrows raised like, ooh, what?
She quirks a smile and she takes her fan, which has been dangling around her wrist from a little string. She takes her fan and she kind of smacks it in her hand a couple of times and she opens it up and puts it in front of her mouth and she says, "Well, good evening, gentlemen," and walks away.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
What was that? Who was that?
It was a former acquaintance.
She seemed to get on your nerves a little bit more than a former acquaintance.
Well, that's not unusual.
You used
for
to
me,
frequent the
is it?
theater?
Yes.
You went out?
He stiffens, he shakes his little head and looks away. He's like, "Yes, I did. Used to go out."
And to the theater?
Yes, I had a few acquaintances there as well, and so I would see them perform.
Oh, acquaintances of what kind?
People of the theatre.
I mean, it's hard to picture you going somewhere so busy and, theater folk, I imagine are, well, I mean, I don't know, I've never really met any except for just now, but they always seem so lively and colourful and eccentric and just not at all, your crowd.
He looks off into the distance and he says, "It was a different life."
Seems that way.
Yes, I know, it's very strange. I'm a much different person now. And he sounds very bitter.
Oh, is she not to be trusted?
I wouldn't say that. No. I would say ended things.
His eyebrows raise.
Not at all like that. We ended our acquaintanceship. We ended our familial. Never mind. We don't talk anymore. I don't talk to any of them anymore.
Well, it seems like she would like to start talking to you again.
I don't think so. I think she just wanted to wrinkle my nerves. She enjoys that sort of thing.
And the gentleman she's with, do you recognize him?
No, I'm not sure who that is.
We do recognize Sylvester, and if we're lucky, he won't notice us. He seems to be cornering them. But you and I don't have any money. Well, one of us doesn't have any money. So hopefully he won't see us.
Yes, perhaps we should retire to a different part of the room.
He looks over at where Mr. Keen is, and then he looks back to Adrian and he nods and he goes, yes, I agree.
Yeah, Adrian will point to the statues. Those could be spooky.
He gives you a little smile and he goes, lead on.
All right. I walk over. Can I perceive them?
Perceive away.
Can I also perceive them?
Perceive away. Are you going to perceive the same statue, like, simultaneously to get a really good read on it, or are you going to go to the next one?
I'll go to the next one.
Okay.
Ooh. 22.
Woohoo.
9.
No.
So I will start with Adrian. Adrian, you walk up to this bronze statue, and you, with your poetic knowledge of the arts, you're just rolling in it. You clock right away that this is a bronze statue of Athena. She has an owl in one hand, she's wearing her helm, all of the traditional symbols of her mythology are there, she's holding a shield, she's got a titty out, she's this is very obviously Athena.
Okay. I wish I hadn't said yes like that. That was weird.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Okay.
Titty out Tuesday.
Is there more you have to tell me?
That's it for you.
Okay.
For Zach, with your 9, I'm going to say you walk over and you can tell this is probably some sort of classical figure. You're thinking you don't have quite exactly the same repertoire as Adrian.
He's more of a numbers guy. But,
you're like, well, there's a toga is what you assume it is. You're like, well, there's a toga. There's a guy. He's got muscles and a beard. That's probably a Greek or Roman thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
He looks at it and then in the back of his mind he goes, what am I looking for? He feels about as lost as he does whenever he looks at any piece of art, really. Not that he doesn't appreciate it. He just is like, I don't know anything about this.
So, Adrian, actually, I lied. I will give you one more piece of information. You're able to tell that this piece of artwork is quite old and very well made.
All right. Can I see with Malt 22 what the other statues are? Like, if there are other Greek or Roman gods and goddesses?
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say, so there's 6 alcoves and 5 statues. Mm-hmm. The one that Zach is looking at, you kind of lean back to take a peek at it. That one is Zeus.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the third one down, you see that one is also a male figure, but you can't really get quite a good read on like what the symbolism is with that one because it's a little bit far away from you. So if you wanted to see what the other gods were, you'd have to walk around the room. Okay. I will, if you want to walk, I will allow that 22 to extend to all of them. So are you going to walk around?
Yeah, definitely. He wants to look at all of them.
Okay, so past Zeus we have an Apollo looking very handsome.
He lingers on that one just a little bit.
I feel like Zachary, catching on that Adrian seems to identify what these statues are. He kind of, attaches himself and, follows along.
Yeah. Adrian would be like, he'd be like, oh, I see. They've got a few Greek or Roman gods here, it looks like.
So the next one, are you listing these off for Zach as you go along?
Yeah.
After Apollo, that's where the vase is. It's a beautiful blue vase in keeping with the theme of the room. It's got some lovely decorative ferns in it. Nice and fresh. And then after that is a statue of Aphrodite. And then beyond Aphrodite is a statue of Ares.
Is it just a coincidence that a lot of the gods start with A?
Interesting.
How mysterious!
Can I tell if there used to be a statue where the vase is?
You'll have to do me another perception roll for that.
Okay. Adrian would be pointing out the gods and saying who's who, and he'd point at Apollo and be like, that's one of my favorites.
Why?
He's hot.
But he stammers a little. But Apollo is related to music some, right? He has a lyre. He's related to a few things.
Art and disease.
Yeah.
So he is often associated with the arts.
I mean, medicine is a fairly significant part of Apollo as well. So I would say the arts and medicine are a couple big ones, which is... sorry. Have that moment again. I talked over it. Have that moment. So it's the arts and medicine.
Because Adrian likes being a doctor now. Yeah, he'd say the arts.
Yeah.
No, he'd say he's known very well for the arts, and then he'd be like, oh, and also medicine.
Oh.
Also, it's fairly significant. I feel like we haven't actually said it yet because to me it's fairly obvious, but he's also like the god of the sun. He's not the one who's actually driving the chariot across the sky, but he is the god of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let me roll to see about that vase. A modified 20.
Wonderful. So there's no dust disturbed or anything. However, you can tell that the paint underneath the vase is off color in a perfect circle. So it is a whiter shade of cream, as if it has been under something for a long time, because the base of the vase is smaller than the base of the statues.
Okay, you definitely point that out. I think they must be missing one here.
It could be for repairs, or it could be for something suspicious. He says, looking away. But
they're both over there like,
Zachary is also very aware of where the priest is. He's trying to see if this is a priest he recognizes at all from the church, if it's like a hunter in disguise. I would really like to, like, Zachary is like kind of giving him furtive glances over his shoulder and like trying to see if like this is somebody he should be aware of. So
Got it. Go ahead and give me a roll.
God, please. 17 plus wisdom. 23.
With a 23, you casually look over your shoulder and you catch that the priest is looking you up and down, and then his eyes catch yours and then he looks away.
No! Bad danger. This immediately skyrockets his heart into his throat. So I'm gonna let him take a fright.
Yeah.
Is this a Manus?
It better not be.
It's another one?
No.
It's another one.
It's another motto?
Lord have mercy. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me describe the priest a little bit also, since you are looking at him more closely. The priest also looks fairly young, closer to yours and Adrian's height. He's got warm brown, curly hair, fair skin, and his hair is styled. It's nicely kind of poofed on top, but it is slightly receding. He's wearing the traditional black cassock, and with your incredible roll, I could say that from here you can even also see that he's got a few chicken pox scars on his cheeks.
Wow.
Is he fit?
No.
Is he hot?
He's thin. He's, well, slender.
Fit means attractive.
I know fit means attractive.
No,
I was
meant,
trying
like,
to give a very
you mean
specific
is he-
I do mean,
Oh.
yeah. Because like Manuses tend to be a little muscular.
he's
kind of very muscular.
He's very slender.
Okay.
We caught each other looking at each other. He's looked away, right?
He looked away pretty much immediately.
You gave that description, but does Zachary recognize this person at all, or is this like a stranger?
Zachary does not recognize this person.
Okay, great. He saw that, and then he looks back to the statue, and are there any more statues to look at?
You guys have gone around the room. You're good.
Great. He goes, okay, I would like to leave now.
Are you alright? What's happened?
I'll tell you later.
Is it the nudity?
Sure.
Yes, get me out of here.
It's a lot to handle.
Okay, sure, alright. And they can walk away if they want.
He kind of leads him away, like, please, please, please.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, let me tell you about the exits that you have available to you. There are 3 exits to this room. There is one exit up to the south. There's an exit down to the north, and then there's an exit at the northeast.
Okay, and the north leads back to the library that we were just in, and the northeast goes somewhere we don't know yet. Or is that under the stairs?
So the northeast, I'm going to go ahead and give this to you.
Okay.
You suspect that the door that's on the northeast corner of the room, you suspect that leads back out into the foyer. If you recall, in the previous episode, you had a bit of trouble deciding whether to go through a left-hand door or a right-hand door, and you went to the right into the library. So this leads back into the foyer.
Okay.
So you can assume that that's the case, or you can go, the one place you haven't been yet is to the south.
Adrian, do you want to go further south?
Yeah,
South.
let's keep going south.
Okay. Explore more of the house.
Yeah,
All right.
if Zachary just beams off and away, Adrian will follow.
Yeah, he kind of pops up. He kind of pops off.
Yeah, excellent. So you guys, so Zach made direct eye contact with this priest, whispers to Adrian, and then they both scurry out towards the south door.
Not hella fast, but
Okay,
enough to
okay.
be like, okay, we should go. And then,
Okay.
turns and walks. So he's
Yeah.
not, grabbing Adrian. We gotta get out of here.
Right, a little casual,
Yeah,
a little casual.
Zachary's used to trying to be inconspicuous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he wouldn't just be like, what the fuck?
Excellent.
Although I do understand his nerves are shot
Oh,
after
yeah.
their last
Mhm.
adventures.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So now we rejoin Liam and Daniel as they enter this room. As soon as you open the door, you find that this room is visually divided in two halves, half rug and half hardwood flooring. Closest to the door where we're standing is a seating area arranged on a large, round beige rug. There's two cream-colored couches that face each other with a low table between them, and on one of these couches, we catch Mr. and Mrs. Quinn in a somewhat intimate, but not scandalous, moment. Ida is reclining lengthwise while Nevin gently massages one of her stockinged feet. They are painted in hues of gold and orange by the nearby fireplace. Over the fireplace, their mirrored doubles reflect this small act of marital tenderness. As we walk in, Ida quickly slips her foot off the couch and back into her shoe, blushing like a young girl, smoothing her skirts.
Daniel's like, God, I wish that were me.
God, I wish that were me.
Marriage.
The atmosphere is far less grand than the hall that we just left. It feels much more personable here. The uncarpeted half of the room boasts a small breakfast table near the window, extra seating lined up along the parchment gold and cream leaf wallpaper.
So the half division is kind of like horizontal. So like if we were to step in, it's all carpet and then we would have to go further in to get to the hardwood.
Precisely.
Okay.
You've got it exactly.
Okay.
You can see a large glass china case near the table, but not clearly, as well as a long table presumably for breakfast platters to be laid out on. The decorations in here feature rolling pastoral paintings and a couple pieces of taxidermy. That's as much as you can catch in a glimpse before Nevin rises to greet you, wiping his hands on his patterned waistcoat somewhat sheepishly.
Daniel says, oh, my apologies. We should have knocked.
Oh, never you mind that. Don't mind us. We thought that everyone else had gone off to the parlour, and we were just enjoying this living room or breakfast room, wherever we happen to be. It's nice to see you lads again. How are you finding the place? Quite grand, is it not?
Yes, it's quite charming.
You should check out some of their fine china that they have over there. Why, the luxury of this place. It's quite outstanding. Now, see, Ida here. Yes, Nevin, it's all right. No, I'm saying, Ida here, she works for a very fine lady, and so she's not unused to these things, but not myself. This is quite a first for me. It's my pleasure to be here, really. But you should check out some of that china over there in the cabinet. They've got some remarkable stuff.
Daniel says, well, I believe I will. Wonderful to see you again. I kind of want to, can I perception roll for the taxidermy? Is there a hound?
Yeah, go ahead and do me a perception roll.
Oh, he wouldn't know about that. But I just want to know if,
Sure, you
glancing,
can still
Yeah.
if there
room.
happens
Oh,
to
sure.
be a hound.
I truncated some of the details because, you have a more immediate people to deal with, but you can look around now to see what you see.
11.
Okay, so that's a moderate success. I'm going to say that you see the one which is closest to you, which is that on the mantelpiece, there is a seabird. With an 11, you're just like, that looks like a seabird. And it's kind of bedraggled, like its feathers are kind of all mussed up and stuff. But it's been, stuck on top of the mantelpiece. It looks a little sad to be there.
So this room is a little less grand than... So this is perhaps a room they didn't necessarily want people to see, maybe.
All of the lights are illuminated on the chandelier, which would have had to be done on, a longer stick to light everything. So
Okay.
the room was not locked. You were able to walk in. It's just that the furniture doesn't look quite as new. It's up to you whether you feel a little bashful about being in here, but there hasn't been any specific indication that you're not allowed to be in here.
Okay. Daniel makes a mental note that he didn't read the genealogy thing, but he saw the portraits.
Mm-hmm.
He is starting to piece together that, and also hearing Zachary's story about how desperate Nathaniel was, he's piecing together that maybe these people aren't doing as financially well as their predecessors, and that perhaps these are kind of nobility who are kind of losing their nobility, which is sometimes what happens. He checks out the china like Nevin told him to.
Liam will accompany you. As you're walking over, you can hear Nevin's sort of whispering something to Ida. You can't quite make it out, but you do hear her burst out into laughter, and she slaps him on the chest with her hand a couple of times and chides him sternly for whatever it was that he was saying. Just some more private moments between them, but they kind of keep up a sort of like quiet chatter between the two of them.
He said, good thing they didn't come in here 20 minutes later.
Sir, you should have locked the door. Madame.
You walk over to the china place, and you see there is some very nice older pieces of fine china. There's also some novelty plates in here. That's a very popular thing at the time, where you would have a king's coronation and then a line of plates and saucers and everything that come out to mark the occasion. So you see there's a lot of that sort of like royal memorabilia with the royal family in this china case.
Can I roll to see if there's like anything particular that I can notice?
Go ahead and give me another roll, because you're on the other side of the room now. And I'll roll for Liam as well, because he's here, and he gets to play too.
Hell yeah.
I got a 12.
Add to your wisdom.
Oh, it's a 17 now.
Very nice. Well,
Oh, Liam.
Liam's not doing too great, but that's fine.
Liam's like shocked at
He
what
got-
he saw.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Liam got only a moderate success, but you got a 17.
Yes. With
So-
my special eyes.
You notice, you can see more clearly the other piece of taxidermy in this room is that close to the breakfast table, in a, I guess we can call it the Sphinx position, so sitting but with four legs on the ground, is a taxidermy white hound.
This is the first that Daniel is seeing of
Yes.
any of these kinds of hounds.
Mm-hmm.
He approaches it though, because probably the eyes look weird, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
More gemstone eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And he likes dogs.
All right. So as you come closer to inspect, I'm going to just include that 17. You're able to see that it has sapphire eyes and a silver collar. It's the same kind of dog as what I discussed before. It's a hunting dog with, kind of more of a squarish nose. It's got a lean and powerful build.
He examines it, admiring its beauty. It seems like a beautiful piece of taxidermy. I guess he doesn't think anything too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not very sensitive to like sensing things, so he can't like sense anything that Zach does, but he does remember, because he's kind of a visual person, he does remember blue eyes, silver collar.
Blue eyes, white dog. Liam pipes up, actually, whenever he sees this, and he goes, "Oh, my word. I don't know if I could have ever had any of my pets taxidermied like that. It would make me too sad every time I saw them. But I'd get a little bit maudlin about that kind of thing. Would you ever have that in your house, Daniel?"
Oh, goodness, no. It's unnatural.
Yes, I suppose so, but I don't know. Perhaps in life it was a very charming pet. I hope so, anyway. And Liam reaches down, because he hasn't had any information about not interacting with it, and he gives it a fond pat on the head, and then he makes this most wretched face as he pulls his hand away.
Right, because it's oily.
And he said, "Oh, I don't know anything about taxidermy, but I don't know if that's natural." And
Daniel looks at his hand.
He's like shaking his hand a little bit, like, "Oh my word." And then he quickly pulls out his handkerchief and he kind of wipes it off. I suppose they have to treat it with something. Is that to embalm it or something? Do you know anything about that, Daniel?
Daniel looks at the dog and probably now notices how shiny it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of makes like a kind of disgusted face, like his mouth goes like all the way down to his chin, and he's like, I don't know much about taxidermy at all.
You know what? I bet Adrian would be able to tell us a thing or two about that. I believe he has at least one or two taxidermy items in his room. He's told me about that before.
We could ask him if it's natural for them to be oily.
Yes. Liam stretches his fingers out a little bit as if recalling the unpleasant sensation. There are other paintings around the room, mostly pastoral scenes if you want to look any closer at those.
I do. I want to examine the paintings.
Okay.
Tell me what's in them. Oh, man. That was...
Here, let me let you roll this one again.
That's quite the roll.
I was aiming right into the dice box and it jumped out.
Daniel gets right up next to this painting and it's just like squinting over every centimeter.
He thrusts his nose onto it and he goes...
I'm really gonna perceive this painting.
I got a 12. Do I add a wisdom?
Yeah.
All right, then I've got a 17.
Oh, yeah, that's great. You have enough artistic sensibility to know that these are moderately famous painters, some of them quite famous painters, that they are originals, and that the craftsmanship is quite incredible. So this is very well done painting in here. So even, you have some scenes where there's a lot of light hitting different shades of green all across the landscape, and the understanding of color and lighting is just superb in these pieces. Liam is sort of standing behind you with his hands behind his back. I do wish I had a better eye for this sort of thing. I confess if there's no people in it, I don't always know exactly what to make of it.
Daniel, squints at these and he says, goodness me, this is a Keenly Side original. They're just hiding it in this cute little room.
That's, I assume that's quite impressive.
Indeed. This would have been quite expensive. Here's another Keenly Side, and this one is Mr. Burton. Oh my. And they're originals.
I suppose it strikes me as quite strange, because this seems like quite a luxurious place, with all of these quite expensive paintings here. I wonder how they can afford to charge such a reasonable price for the rooms.
He puts a hand to his mouth and he says, that is strange. Didn't we hear that not everyone paid such a reasonable price?
That's true. We should definitely bring that to Adrian and Zach. That seems like very relevant information if people are getting different prices for the same place. And of course, some people not paying anything at all. Liam makes a small gesture back over his shoulder towards the Quinns, who are engrossed in their own conversation. Couple of lovebirds.
Well, that was a raffle. But Mr. Higgins was complaining of how expensive it was. Though, if I had to judge... He kind of looks around, making sure that his voice is quiet, and he says, if I had to judge, he didn't seem to be willing to pay much at all. What with his current state? I can't assume the Ship of Curiosities did well for him.
Liam sort of draws his lips down and raises his eyebrows in a conspiratorial expression and say, I know what you mean. And he taps his nose, I suspected much the same thing, so perhaps we can get a wider sample.
It's quite rude to ask about how much someone paid for something, though, isn't it?
Well, you are right there, you've got me. Unless someone is willing to put forth the information, much like Mr. Higgins.
That's so cute.
Okay, so is there anything else that Daniel would like to observe in this room?
You said the furniture was not as nice.
So it's not as grand.
Not as grand. Okay.
Yeah, it's not as grand, and it feels much more lived in this room. So, for example, you haven't been to the parlor or the library or anything like that, but the 2 cream-colored couches you could see, even the one that wasn't occupied, had little butt dimples in it where people sit.
People actually use it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other relevant information is that there is a door that we came through, and then there is a door on the south side as well.
Well, we gotta go through there, huh?
Yes. We're going to make our way towards the south side of the room, and as we're leaving, Nevin happens to pull out the pocket watch at his waist and say, not too long till dinner now, lads. I'm sure we'll see you in there.
Yes, we'll see you there.
And so we depart, and we exit through that door on the south side.
And then Nevin's like, where were we?
And then directly across from us is another door. So we're standing, there's a hallway that's facing us, and to the left of us, the hallway just ends. To the right of us, it goes and it hits another bend, and I'm going to go ahead and say that we have a good enough sense of direction that we can assume that this also leads to the hallway where we were in before. So it makes sort of a backwards C shape, this hallway. And so there's a door in front of us, and this one is actually open, and you can clearly see that there are other people in this room moving hither and thither. This is a kitchen with the door open across from us, and the door is open to allow for people to move out, to bring drinks out to the guests, and to pass back through into the kitchens. So there's a lot of kind of steam, there's noises coming out, there's a lot of heat coming out, there's smells. It smells incredible.
How many workers are there?
I will say that just standing as we are by the doorway, we can see there's probably like 2 or 3 people wrestling around in there.
Not a lot for a building this big. Are there less workers?
Give me a wisdom roll.
Okay. I just want to know if they're working with a skeleton crew or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nat 20.
There are definitely too few workers for a house of this size,
Okay.
with as many guests as you saw in the book up front. So
So
there are
he's-
very few workers. If you want to kind of step further into the kitchen, I would be happy to give you more details.
He peeks a little.
Uh-huh. Liam also cranes his neck next to him like a little cartoon. So you can see that there's a large prep table in the middle of the room. There's pans hanging on the walls, cupboards for the dishes and silverware. There's bowls and vegetables spread out on the prep table. From the smells, you can tell there's definitely very savory meats, sages, onions, pepper, a little bit of like kind of a simmering wine smell. There's vegetable smells, sweet smells. There's a lantern hanging down over the prep table, and the workers are passing quickly and gracefully around the room. None of them seem particularly stressed about the situation. They're just moving very quickly. There's an oven, a wood-burning oven, obviously, and a hearth with a large pot, and a griddle and pan, and a meat spit. There's ladles hanging from shelves. There's a tea kettle. There's 3 wooden chairs around the room, presumably for when somebody needs to peel something, but nobody is sitting down right now. The walls are whitewashed and the floors are made of stone. There's also a door leading out into well, you can't see what the door leads out to. I'm going to say it's fairly safe for you to assume that, well, most kitchens, they might have like a little kitchen garden out there. You're familiar enough with
like herbs and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. You're familiar enough with the times that you'd be able to know something like that. But it's currently thunderstorming out there and it's quite dark because of the clouds, so you can't actually see through that door there. You also notice there's a few pipes in the walls on the west side.
Like plumbing?
Yes, of that variety. But if you want to find out more, you'll have to walk properly into the room. I'll give you the actual number of people in here right now. There are 4 people in the room. Do you have a watch on you? Does Daniel carry a watch?
That's a good question. I think he has a watch, but he didn't bring it because he was expecting maybe to fight someone, so he didn't.
Yeah.
So he has one watch, and it's really nice. It's an heirloom, and he's not gonna bring it to a potentially dangerous situation. So no, he does not.
Okay, so then you only have Nevin's sort of vague indication that it's going to be dinner soon, and from the smells of it, dinner is in fact going to be quite soon. So
I would guess 7:20.
You might guess that.
Okay.
You don't have a watch.
That's what Daniel is guessing.
Yeah.
He's like 7:20 or 7:25.
That's accurate for the time that you've spent sort of ambling around.
I think he does forget himself for a moment, and he is curious about those pipes, so he actually steps in to get a better look.
Liam's a little hesitant about coming in after Daniel, but then he remembers himself and he's like, oh yeah, we're supposed to be investigating things. The staff really doesn't pay a lot of attention to you coming in. They acknowledge you. There's a woman and 2 men in here. They both turn and they give you a brief nod, and then they just go back to work. Working very quickly, working very efficiently. You want to go in and check out the pipes. So give me roll for pipes, please.
Roll for the pipe roll. Oh no, it's a nat 1.
Damn.
Nat 1.
I've never seen these before.
Are those metal?
Indoor plumbing. It's gonna be big.
It's gonna be big. Yeah, no, that's a fair point to note that it's not like toilets are very common. So you see the pipes, they're attached in some way to the stove. What did you roll again?
1.
Oh, 1. Okay.
You're like, never mind. I have nothing to say to you.
Yeah, right.
I will say here's what we're going to do. So I'm still going to give you information, but there's going to be a consequence.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So you look up at these pipes that actually seem to be leading out of this room into another room, and they're glistening a little bit. You think that's quite strange, so you reach up and you touch them, and it's burning hot. It's incredibly hot, and there's a little bit of condensation coming off of this as well. So take 1 damage, please.
Oh, man. Bum, Daniel.
And now he's got spicy fingers.
Yep. You got
Poor
you
thing.
Daniel jerks his fingers away and Liam rushes over. Are you all right? Did you touch those?
Yeah, I got really dumb for a moment. Like, he pauses. He shakes his head. I forgot that steam is hot.
Steam,
I think it's steam.
Well, are you all right? Can I see it?
Is Liam saying that?
Yeah.
He shows him.
Oh, that looks like it hurt.
It did very much.
Kiss his fingers.
No, don't get anything hot near this. I need something cold. He actually, he's embarrassed about this. He pauses for a moment, thinking like, do I want to tell them I was a dumbass? But then he's like, fine, all right. And then he goes to one of the kitchen people. It's like, excuse me, and he blushes and he sweats and he says, do you have something cold I could hold? And he's holding his hands and he's so embarrassed. He looks like a child.
Do you approach one of the two gentlemen or do you approach the lady in the room?
The lady.
She takes a quick glance at it and she says, of course, sir. And she walks over to a water basin and she dips a little towel in that. And then she comes back. Here you are, sir. Hope that helps. And then she goes back to her work.
Thank you, miss. And he puts the towel on his hand.
Mm.
And he's like beet red. He's so fucking embarrassed.
Sorry, I have a little question. You said there were 4 people in there, right? That's what I wrote down.
You know what?
4.
I think you're right. And then I fucked up. Boop,
okay.
boop, boop, boop. So there are 2 ladies and 2 men. So you've received this little towel to hold over your finger. And you are now standing next to one of the tables. Do you want to take any glance around the room before you leave, or do you want to go ahead and head out?
I do want to specify he has burned the first 2 fingers on his right hand.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this will be a little troubling for him. I think now he's so goddamn embarrassed that he is not really going to investigate anything.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that he would be able to glance and see just by standing in the new position that he's in now? I assume he walked further into the kitchen to go talk to the lady.
The table that you're next to right now has cookbooks and an assortment of papers and receipts on it.
He might glance at them a little bit. Seeing a bunch of paper documents, he glances at them.
Very good. Liam, seeing you look over there, is also going to take a peek. So will both of us roll with wisdom.
Oh. An unnatural 20.
Oh, that was a good noise.
Yeah, sorry.
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
You got a
I
modified
thought you were-
20.
That did not sound like a yippee noise.
Yippee! Yippee! I got a moderate. Liam is gonna see that there's a recipe for braised pork tenderloin on the menu for tonight.
That sounds good.
But with a modified 20, Daniel is going to find some receipts for a pretty significant quantity of food, and there's also a date for this. So it's going to be things like potatoes, carrots, like pounds of each, and it dates back to a week ago.
Mm.
How about the meat?
The meat was also ordered on the same day a week ago.
He doesn't know what to think of that yet. I assume the food doesn't smell bad.
No, everything smells amazing.
Okay.
With your modified 20, you can see that there is another receipt nearby for a very similar order that was 1 day ago.
Oh.
This is supposed to be opening night.
Yep. He thinks on that and he plans to tell Liam later. He doesn't want to say anything in front of these people. And he doesn't want to point because he's afraid that like people are going to see him point. So he absorbs that information and then looks away and then indicates to Liam, like kind of tilts his head a bit like, we're in their way. Let's get out of the kitchen.
As you...
He can't stand the heat.
That's true.
Oh, wait, that's true.
So you're on your way out and one of
he gives the towel back to the lady.
Okay. You hand the towel back. She says, "Dinner will be ready shortly, sir. In just a few minutes, if you wanted to make your way towards the dining room."
Well noted. he is having trouble paying attention to her because as soon as he gave the towel back, the burning in his fingers started up again. And he immediately regrets doing that. You know when you burn your hand and then you just like constantly feel heat in it and it just constantly feels like it's burning? Mm-hmm. He's experiencing that. He's not looking forward to having to pick up utensils or touch hot things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Liam and Daniel make their departure from the kitchen, and you can walk back down the hallway. This time you walk out the door, you turn left, you go down the hallway.
While they're walking down the hallway, he actually kind of like touches Liam on the arm and kind of like gently like moves him towards him and leans in when he's sure that no one is looking, and he says, "Tonight was supposed to be the opening night, wasn't it?"
That's what it said in the flyer.
There were grocery receipts for a day ago, our dinner, and then there were receipts for quite the same thing a week ago.
How interesting. Was it the exact same order?
Yes, indeed.
What with that first page ripped out of the check-in book? I'm beginning to think that we might not have been the first people to come here.
Seems like they're trying to cover something up, doesn't it?
I think you might be onto something there, Daniel. And as we walk down the hallway back towards that great hall so that we can go into the dining room, the clock chimes again to mark the half hour.
Liked what you heard? Let us know by using hashtag #DandiesInDanger over on our Twitter, Insta, Tumblr, and TikTok in the listed links below. We'd love to hear any and all comments, questions, and theories as to where the story might be headed. Want to support us and our lads' adventures more directly? Then please consider clicking on the link and becoming a patron today. For just $1, you can gain access to our longer, uncensored outtakes and blooper reels. For $5, you can have access to exclusive stickers, in-world letters written by and for the lads, poetry by Adrian and Daniel, and original music from the show composed and scored by Chess Albanese. Can't afford to support directly? No problem. Podcasts survive by word of mouth, so if you like what you heard, tell your friends, family, and local graveyard ghosts all about these exciting tales. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Dandies in Danger is written and voiced by Elijah Bergateris as Zachary Wilkos. Cast as Liam Bardsley, Chess Albanese as Daniel Pritchard, and Toast as Adrian Edwards. It is edited by Toast. Original score and music composed by Chess Albanese. It is produced by Dandies team, and made possible by listeners like you.